now we're going to get back to the calls here. We got Scotland, who's calling in from New York. Not someone named New York calling from Scotland. We have Scotland calling from New York. Scotland, you're live on Truth Wanted tonight. How are you doing?
I'm doing okay. How are you doing, sir?
Oh, I'm doing just lovely. I mean, I'm here in the studio here, and I've got my friends over here who unfortunately couldn't make it in the studio because they're in the cold, wintry norths of Canada. But you know, we're here in spirit all together, so I'm thankful for that. How are you doing, Scotland?
Nice. I'm doing okay. Got a really scary, spooky, scary story for you. So, folks, it's time to put the kiddos to bed.
Okay.
Put them in another room. Escort them out.
All right, you hear that, the folks at home? Please put your kiddos away. I know this is usually a family-friendly program, but tonight, you know, it might get a little intense, I suppose. So let's go ahead and hear it, Scotland.
I was in Woodstock, New York, right around, I'd say, probably June, the month of June 2015. I was driving in a car with one of my best friends sitting in the right-hand passenger seat, not on any kind of narcotics, not on any hallucinogens, not cannabis, not any alcohol. Looked over, and as I looked in my periphery, already in my periphery, and I caught it right dead in the center of my pupils, the Stephen King's The It Clown, holding one red balloon in his right hand, or in his left hand, and then he waved at me with his right, and then just blipped right out of existence. Just a blip, not a fade away, just a blip.
Well, that's quite a story. Now, you know, there was a clown epidemic a couple of years ago. Did you hear about this, Scotland? Where there was a lot of people dressing up as clowns, trying to scare people. I think because the new It movie was a recent release. You know, maybe it was one of those pranksters, one of those jokesters that was trying to pull a fast one on you.
Then how did he blip out of existence?
Now that I can't tell you, Scotland.
I saw him vanish.
That I can't tell. Maybe my co-host could tell you, but I don't know if I could tell you that.
My first question was just maybe a little bit of inconsistency in the story. You said that you saw it out of the peripheral, but then you also saw it in the center of your pupil. So do you remember if it was like in front of you or like actually out to the side? Just trying to get all the details, all the data here.
Well, yeah. Do you know, like when you turn your when you turn your head and you see, like, as I would turn my head, I would turn my head and it was to the left hand side, and then right on the corner of the curb, the clown was standing there, and I caught it dead center with my eyes, and then we were at the light or the stop sign. And then it waved at me. It was holding a balloon, and then it just blipped out of existence, kind of like that Tyler Durden blip from Fight Club. Boom, just there and not there all of a sudden.
And was this the Bill Skarsgård It Clown, or was it the Tim Curry It Clown?
No,
that's an important question. Important distinction.
Which one?
Tim Curry It Clown, because it was in 2015 before the Scarsdale It Clown came out.
Tim Curry's a frightening man. I would also be scared if I saw Tim Curry in a clown outfit.
I would. You know? I probably would have been more scared if it was just Tim Curry Yeah.
You know, Scotland, I can't explain every single phenomenon that people encounter on the day-to-day, but I do know that people often make mistakes, and people can be quite tricky. You know, they can try to fool you into believing things that aren't really there. So maybe I think this was some sort of prankster, you know, some sort of jokester that was trying to pull the wool over your eyes, you know. But that's the best explanation I can come up with, because otherwise that's quite a frightening story, Scotland. That's quite a frightening story.
Maybe somehow my mind got tricked into thinking he blipped away.
Could be.
He just faded into the background of the crowd. Because there were a lot of people walking by and passing by.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead. Sorry.
In my clear memory, I specifically clearly remember him blipping out of existence. And the night I was scared to holy high hell, and the night that I was laying in my best friend's couch, I heard the It Clown's his voice in my head, and he said, "I'm hot."
He said, "I'm hot."
Yes.
Or did he call you hot?
Or did he call you hot? Because
No, he didn't call me hot. He said I'm hot.
now, you sure you weren't under the, influence of hallucinogens? I would never do such a thing
No.
myself, but I've heard other people have quite experiences, and that matches up with some of those experiences, I think.
I wasn't under the influence of any hallucinogens or any substances, I promise you.
Well,
as often
How
as
long had you been
I
awake?
take them.
How long had you been awake,
to be
Scotland?
honest with you, I can't remember at this point. I don't remember if I'd been awake for over 24 hours or just got another full night's rest the night before. It's just too long ago to remember that.
All right, fair enough.
Well,
One question I have about the story is, like, you said it happened in 2015, correct?
Yes.
Regardless, okay, so it's been a few years. I'm wondering if, like, at the time that it happened, did you tell anybody else about it? Because the details, I'm curious on how these details have happened and whether this story has kind of been this way since the very beginning, or whether, as you've told the story over the years, whether more details have been added in, like him vanishing right away. Do you have any memory of telling anyone else about the story?
I didn't tell anybody about the story until like a few months afterward because I was just so scared, and that happened probably in June and April, May or June, and then I was hospitalized that August and diagnosed with schizophrenia, and I didn't really speak up about it until probably September or October. But the details haven't changed just because that was such a scary moment in time for me. It just has stuck with me all these years. And it's been a reoccurring nightmare and delusion and visions that I see frequently. I see blips of it frequently.
I think that
we found our explanation.
Yeah, I think that last part of the story kind of is part of that missing data that we were looking for earlier.
I mean, the other question is, how do you know that your memory hasn't changed, right? When they do studies on this sort of thing, the way they do it is they ask people to write down a memory, and then they ask them again about that memory in, 5 years or whatever. And people think that their memory hasn't changed, but when you compare it to what they wrote down, that objectively hasn't changed, there can be some pretty significant distinctions, right? Did you do anything like that?
Right.
Any documentation?
No documentation. I was too afraid to document it. I was afraid that if I documented it, it would make it all too real for me.
Well, it sounds like that was a pretty frightening encounter. Whether what you experienced was real or not, you still have something that made you feel an emotional type of way. So with that being said, I do feel for you, Scotland. If you have...
I appreciate that.
Of course. I'm playing a bit of a character right now. Folks often say I'm kind of a character. They compare me to some other painter on TV. I don't really know.
Maybe Objectively Dan told you about me. He said I could call back anytime.
He said that. I'm sure he did. I'm sure he's told me about a lot of people over the years. But the point I was trying to make here is, whatever situation you're going through and whatever is actually frightening you, with whatever you might be suffering through, I do honestly wish the best for you, and I hope that you're talking to people that can really get you the help that you need. It sounds like you have had some of those conversations, so that's the best I can hope for you, Scotland. Is that okay with you?
Yes, that is. Do you think this could be possibly the scariest story of the night?
I got to tell you, that is a pretty frightening tale. That made me shiver in my boots. That really did. But, we have some other tales that we got to tell. In fact, I think we're going to tell another one right now. So, Scarlett, I'm going to go ahead and let you go for tonight. And thank you so much for calling in.
Thanks, my man.
We do appreciate it.